Let me put up the screen first, and we'll play around with it. Just want to make sure everything's coming through before we go live. Folks, we apologize. We've had some, we were going to have Randy Cox on with us. We did have Randy on with us. He looked great, had a jacket on. However, none of the sound was coming through, and I just want to make sure we're streaming on everything correctly. And it looks like we are, which is fantastic. All right, we're sending data, and we should be on shortly. We will be going live shortly. Let me just check on my iPhone to make sure we're coming through, and we should be ready to go. Switch. All right, folks, Gene Gowan here with the Chatham Journal. I got a Shibo Rojas from the Chatham News and Record. We were going to have Mr. Randy Cox on. We did have him on, but his audio would not connect. So you could look at him through the entire session, but he wouldn't be able to hear him. So we're going to, unfortunately, not have him on there. Seaforth's got a new football coach. Shibo's going to let you know about that. Again, spring sports updates, lacrosse, soccer, softball, baseball, plus unofficial power rankings. Shibo and I talked about this last week. It's like, hey, we're going to toss it out there. It's unofficial, of course. There were a bunch of track and field events, and then the paper comes out today, the Chatham News and Record. We'll talk about it, what stories the Shibo's got there, and then everybody's favorite, Shibo's Athlete of the Week. Actually, that's usually a favorite for the athletes' parents and grandparents, but everybody wants to know who's Shibo's Athlete of the Week. You can pick up the paper, or Shibo will tell you right here, right now. All right, let me get rid of our screen and let us talk about what is going on with Seaforth's football program. Shibo, fill us in.
Yeah, so just yesterday, late last night, Seaforth announced that Tolbert Matthews will be the next head football coach at Seaforth. So Tolbert's coming from Fayetteville State University, where he spent the last 2 seasons coaching the linebackers. He has plenty of college experience as well before Fayetteville State. He made some stops at NC State and Duke, working with their athletic programs as an intern. But he also worked in the Durham and Wake County public school systems as a PE instructor as well. So he's got some experience here in North Carolina in the athletics sphere here. And then as well, with college, he played at Delaware State and Elizabeth City State universities for football. So he has playing experience, coaching experience on the college level. Norfolk, Virginia native. So he's not too far away. But like I said, he's been in North Carolina and has some experience here. So talking with some of the guys at Seaforth, they're really excited about the hire. He's a defensive guy, so as we know at Seaforth for football the last couple of years, defense has been the strength there, and we'll probably see some more really good defensive play out of Seaforth with another defensive head coach in there. So, yeah, see, that's the direction Seaforth is headed before next fall when they go into their new conference. Will probably some tougher competition there. So, yeah, Seaforth is in a new era for his football program.
Yeah, and just want to let you folks know, we talked with Jared he's the athletic director over at Seaforth, and they're planning to have a meet and greet with the new coach. If you guys want to have an idea, Shibo and I there was a meet and greet over at Northwood when Dalton came aboard as the new football coach. I think Jared's looking to kind of have the same kind of thing where they have an open evening and the parents and players come and get to meet the new coach, and then Shibo will do the interview with the coach, and I will grab some video for you, folks. So we're kind of excited about it. We actually knew about this a few weeks ago, but we couldn't say anything about it till the school board meeting on Monday where they made it official. So congratulations. Seaforth's got a new football coach, and we'll see what happens this season. And look, there's going to be a whole bunch of changes next year with all the different conference realignment. So let me just remove the coach's image. There you go. He looks like he's ready to play. And let's move on to the next thing. Again, next thing on the agenda was we were gonna have Randy Cox, but again, technical difficulties. Randy already texted me, said apologies. I'm like, Randy, wasn't anything you did. We just needed to figure out what's the deal. All right, spring sports updates. Shibo, let's see, we got lacrosse. Do you want to start off with lacrosse? Because you and I were at a big game this week, weren't we? So why don't we start off with that, and then we can go into soccer, softball, baseball.
Yeah, so we're looking at the Central Mid Carolina Boys Lacrosse Conference here, and Seaforth and Orange, first and second place, got together at Seaforth on Tuesday, and Orange got the revenge on Seaforth, won that one 10-8. You guys remember earlier in the year, Seaforth got the big win over Orange, beating them for the first time in program history, 11-6 in March, and they were down, I think, 8-5 in that game, came all the way back and won that one. Same thing here on Tuesday, where Seaforth, they got off to a hot start, led 2-0 to start the first quarter, but ended up down, I think, 7-4 going into halftime, and Orange really caught some fire in that second quarter. And then Seaforth once again found themselves down 8-5 in the third. They were trying to make a run and stuck around to make it interesting. It was a really chippy, physical game on both sides, and looks like we got a little rivalry starting here between Seaforth and Orange on the lacrosse side of things, and that's before they get together in a conference in other sports as well for next season. But yeah, it was a great game. Orange came out on top, and they held on to their lead there. So now looking like it's going to be a tie at the top of that conference once the season finishes out. If both teams handle business, in the final games of the regular season, which should make things interesting for playoffs as well, as far as getting the highest seed possible.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add to that is we have talked with the Seaforth lacrosse coach, and he's agreed to be on the live stream as well. We're working on getting other coaches on here, not just the lacrosse coaches, but we're going to also talk about soccer, softball, and baseball coaches on that. So I think next week, Shibo will have someone either from softball or baseball to talk about that's going on, what's going on there. All right. Anything else on lacrosse before you get into the other sports, Shibo?
Yeah, we could just run down some of the other scores, from earlier this week. Of course, from last week, Northwood, they did play against Southeast Alamance. Got a big win, 17-1 there. But on the girls' side of things, Northwood did lose to Jordan earlier this week on Monday, 11-7. And Seaforth's girls lost to Chapel Hill Monday, 18-9, but they bounced back with a 15-3 win over Riverside Durham last night. So that's our latest update on lacrosse across our 4 programs participating.
All right. What do you want to get into next? Soccer, softball, or baseball?
Oh, yeah, we can start with baseball. Just give a rundown of some scores from this week. Seaforth's been having a really good week, continuing their hot season with a 13-0 win over Jordan Matthews earlier this week. I think that was Tuesday night. And that one, Bauer Bowling, 10 strikeouts on the mound, only gave up 3 hits in that one. And then Easton Sykes for Seaforth at the plate went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs. And then Seaforth earlier in the week got a 19-0 win over Bartley Yancey as well. Plenty of hitting in that one, as you can imagine. Seaforth, red hot team right now in the Mid-Carolina 1A, 2A conference. And we had a conference matchup further down in the conference as well between Chatham Central and Northwood. And Chatham Central won that one 9-7. They got Brady Phillips, the senior, went 2 for 3 from the plate with 2 RBIs. And they scored 5 runs in that second inning to pretty much pull away and control the game from there on out. And Northwood just couldn't quite climb all the way back into that one. And then also too, Chatham Charter swept River Mill this week with a 12-1 win. And thanks to Luke Johnson, who just signed to go to Mid-Atlantic Christian University, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name. Yep, Mid-Atlantic Christian University. And he had a big game. 4 for 4, 4 RBIs for him. Zach Cartret, who we'll talk about later as well, 13 Ks on the mound. He's been having a great season as a pitcher for Chatham Charter, and they're a team to watch. I mean, great pitching, great hitting so far this season. They've dominated their conference, so watch out for the Knights down in the 1A level. But earlier in the week, Chatham Charter did play a non-conference game, lost to Ragsdale 14-1, and so that's all we've had so far this week with baseball. Now, Gene and I have been talking about this all year, and we do official power rankings for football and basketball. We haven't really done an official one for softball and baseball yet, but we've been talking this week. We're going to throw one out for both of them. So for baseball, just from what I've seen so far this season, starting at 5 in our power rankings in the county, I got Jordan Matthews. Younger team this year. They're trying to rebuild and get back to where they want to be as a program. So that's where they are this year. Chatham Central, also same thing, younger team. Still got some veterans there that do some big things this season. But I got them at 4, Northwood at 3, Chatham Charter at 2, and I got Seaforth at 1. And now that top 3, of course, especially Seaforth and Northwood, we see them split the series this year. We know how good Northwood is, especially with Finn Sullivan on the mound. I think Seaforth, they've shown to be a more overall, great team this season at the plate with a great lineup. Daniel White, Bauer Bowling, those guys, always done a great job hitting as well. But then on the mound, Jaden Radar as well, been a great pitcher for Seaforth. Bauer Bowling, like we said, came in, had some big games this year. And they have pretty good pitching staff at Seaforth as well, which I think gives them the edge as the best team in the county this year. But like I said, Chatham Charter right there at 2. Same thing, great hitting, great pitching, and they've just been dominant, taking care of business in the conference. So, yeah, those 3 teams at the top, Seaforth, Chatham Charter, and Northwood, I think they can do some things in the playoffs in a couple of weeks. Of course, Seaforth is coming off of last year's playoff run. I think they got to the 3rd round and had a breakout season. So trying to kind of build all that and recreate that magic in the postseason coming up. And, of course, Chatham Charter with Coach Bill Slaughter, always a great program, and he always has a great team down there as well. So, yep, those are the power rankings, unofficial power rankings for baseball this week.
Well, I don't have anything to add because I haven't seen any of those games. So I'm going to say, yes, I agree with you. Those were actually, folks, if you don't agree, you can make comments in the bottom on the Facebook page or on X as well, or on YouTube. All right. You want to get into softball?
Yeah, softball. Chatham Central had a big week this week. So we got back-to-back 20-run games dated back to last week. They won to beat Graham with over 20 runs, and then they come back this week, beat Bartley Yancey 20-2. And that one, Addison Golston, 2 for 3 from the plate, 4 RBIs for her. And then the Bears followed that up with a big win, 13-1 over their rival Jordan Matthews. And that one, Emma Burke, 2 for 3 from the plate, 3 RBIs. Maddie Karsmachek on the mound, 7 strikeouts. And Chatham Central pretty much won this game in the first inning after going up 10-0. They scored 10 runs in that opening inning and didn't really look back from there. And so, like we said, yeah, they've been dominant in their conference as well. I think they're undefeated in conference play and sitting at the top of the Mid-Carolina 1A, 2A standings. And then Jordan Matthews, a rough week for them. Before the Chatham Central game, they did lose to Southeast Alamance 7-2. But the game was Southeast Alabama's game with Seaforth, by the way, that was postponed, I think, last week, will be continued on April 23rd. So just a notice on that regarding Southeast Alamance. But Seaforth, they did play their rival, Northwood, earlier this week and got the big win, 15-0. And that one, Emma Grace Hill, another stud for the Hawks, for the Hawks Seaforth team this year, 8 Ks, 0 hits on the mound. That's her second no-hitter this season because she had another one against, I think, Bartley Yancey back in March. So, and she's been, of course, you can't go to full length, with mercy rules. So she's been holding them to 0 hits in just about 3 innings in these games where they've been blowing some teams out. So congrats to Emma Grace Hill, another great game and another great achievement there. And then the Hawks followed that up, 23-6 win over Bartley Yancey. And that one, Alyssa Harris, 3 for 3 from the plate, 6 RBIs. She also had a home run in that game and also had a home run against Northwood as well. So, yeah, great hitting from Seaforth this week and taking care of business in the conference. They're another team to watch, which I will see them tonight when they go to Chatham Central, the first place team to battle, in a conference showdown down there and try to take down the Bears after losing to Chatham Central earlier in the year. And then Northwood did get a win this week, though. They did beat Bartley Yancey 15-5 in their latest outing. So, yeah, those are all our scores so far this week from softball. And now to the softball power rankings, unofficial. So starting with 5, I have Northwood, young team. Like we said, just trying to get to where they want to be as a program this year. Not the best season for the Chargers this year. Chatham Charter, I got them at 4. Jordan Matthews at 3, who got some youth as well, more youth in the last couple of years. It's kind of hard to replace players like Logan Gunter, who's playing, who started her college career at Furman. As you guys know, she is out for the season with injury, but she's on the D1 level. Hard to replace a player like that, especially at the shortstop position. And Seaforth, I have them at 2. And then at 1, I have Chatham Central. And Chatham Central, they were young last year and proved to be the best team in the county, arguably with Jordan Matthews. This year, they return a lot of those girls, and they're getting the same return, especially in conference play. And then Seaforth, they've been pretty much having a breakout year as well for their program, having a great season, beating some good teams. Emma Grace Hill leading the way on the plate and on the mound. Annika Johansson as well at the plate. So pretty good team there for Seaforth, and I'm excited to see if they can get back on Chatham Central tonight.
So you're going to be at that game tonight. Again, we're going to see if we can't get one of the softball coaches to join us for our future live stream, maybe coming up for next Thursday. So you got the unofficial power rankings. Again, I haven't gone to any softball games this season yet. It's just everything's bunched together. Plus, I was out for spring break. Women's soccer. What's going on with girls soccer?
Yeah, so girls soccer, Seaforth continuing to dominate in the conference as well. They got Sophia Viana back from injury last week, and when they took down Southeast Alamance at home, second place team in the Mid Carolina 1A2A conference. So, just been humming this season. 15-0 win over Bartley Yancey earlier this week. Viana had 7 goals in that one. And then she had 2 goals in their next game against Orange. Non-conference, a 3A opponent, won that one 4-1. So Seaforth's proven they're not only just doing it in the conference, but they're also stepping out, getting some better competition and winning in those games as well. And then we also had Jordan Matthews. They did lose a close one to Bartley Yancey 2-1. And then Woods Charter, our other program that also went to the state championship game last season. Once again, dominating in the conference. They haven't given up many goals in conference play this season. Many of their games are 9-0, which they did again this week. They beat River Mill 9-0 and Chatham Charter 9-0. And then Chatham Charter did play Southern Wake Academy this week and lost that one 6-4. So that is our scores from girls soccer this week.
Yeah, I think Woods Charter is like a 5-game winning streak. Do you have an unofficial power rankings for the girls soccer?
Just off the top of my head, of course, Seaforth and Woods 1 and 2. I think Northwood 3. Northwood's having a pretty good season as well. I think they're sitting at 3rd in the Mid Carolina 1A2A conference at 5-2, if I'm not mistaken. So they've been having a pretty good year as well. But then behind them, I have Chatham Charter, of course, and of course Chatham Central doesn't have a program, but Chatham Charter, they're at 4, and then at 5, I would probably put Jordan Matthews. Those two teams, trying to work through the season, and yeah, that's off the top.
Let me throw out a question. I don't know if you have the answer to this one right off the top of your head. Last year, Northwood played Woods at Woods and beat Woods. And Woods doesn't have a problem playing Northwood or Seaforth, but they can't always work that out in their schedule. Are they due to play either Seaforth or Northwood this season, or do you know?
Actually, I think they are. Northwood actually will play Woods to end the regular season on May 8th. Yep, at 6 p.m. It's going to be at Northwood. So definitely want to circle on your calendar. Woods Charter, great program coming in. And Northwood, like we said, having a pretty good season themselves. 5-2 in the conference, 6-6 overall. And Woods has some pretty good games coming up. I was looking at their schedule as well. So they'll play, of course, Thales Academy, Apex on actually tonight at 6 p.m. They're hosting them, and then on the 21st they'll be at Voyager Academy, another good 1A program, and then on the 23rd they'll be hosting Franklin Academy. You guys remember, gave Seaforth a good game in the playoffs last season, in the 2A playoffs. So, pretty tough stretch of games for Woods Charter coming up. Pretty a good test for them, like we said, coming out of their conference and getting ready for the playoffs as well, because I'm sure they're looking to make another push to the state finals and see if they can get back there once again. I think it was three appearances in a row after last season. Yep. So.
Yeah, now last one was kind of hard because they had several seniors losing that game. Both you and I were at both the Seaforth championship game and the Woods championship game. I think, as you mentioned, they should be in the playoffs again this year, and we'll see how they do. And then next year again with all the realignments, that's just going to be. We'll see what happens next year. So that's what's going on with the girls' soccer. All right, track and field. There were a couple of events both at Seaforth and Northwood. Northwood's event just took place yesterday, and Seaforth's event, track and field event, took place on Saturday. So what do we have from the track and field? And the thing about the events is a lot of the Chatham County schools were at both events. So what's the scoop on that?
Yeah, so at Northwood, just to run down the team scores from the boys' side, we had Northwood winning the meet as a team with a team score of 136. Seaforth was right behind them with a score of 128. Bartlett Yancey rounded up the top three with a team score of 113. And then you have Jordan Matthews at fourth with 83. And then for the other county schools, Woods Charter, 74 points, came in at fifth. And Chatham Charter with 35 points came right behind them at sixth. And Chatham Central finished seventh with 32 points. Then on the girls' side of things, we had Northwood finishing first, Seaforth second. That one was a close one. Northwood had 147.5 points, and Seaforth with 142.5. Then Jordan Matthews finishes third with 71 points. And then you have Chatham Charter at fifth, 42 points, and Chatham Central at seventh with 30. And then Woods Charter at seventh with 30 as well. So they tied there for those team scores. And yeah, we also had, like you said, the Seaforth Invitational on April 12th. And in that one, I don't think we had team scores from that one, but a lot of Seaforth runners did get some top finishes in that one. Sebastian Calderon, who won a state championship for another event in indoor track, he actually took first in the boys 100-meter dash finals with a time of 11.1 seconds, finishing about 0.6 seconds faster to second place. So a great race for him. And then we have Will Quickie, another great distance runner for Seaforth, taking the 800-meter run in that meet with a time of 2 minutes, 1.97 seconds. Will Quickie also won the 1,600-meter run. And you have Jack Anstrom winning the 3,200-meter run on the boys' side. Also, Ryan Yoder from Seaforth's pole vault, another state champion, taking the win in the meet there with a mark of 14 feet. Warren Washington from Seaforth as well, winning the boys triple jump. So a lot of Seaforth boys coming out on top in that one. Going through the girls' results. Claire Morgan in the 800-meter run finals finished first in that one. And right behind her was Woods Charter's Anna Peeler, both coming in within about 2 seconds of each other, first and second place. But Anna Peeler took the 1,600-meter run finals for the girls with a time of 5 minutes and 36.43 seconds. Natalia Davis from Seaforth taking the girls' 3,200-meter run as well. Tinsley Borland from Seaforth taking the girls' 100-meter hurdles. And just looking through, we also had Seaforth, the girls, winning the 4x800-meter relay. Gabby White came out and competed with the Seaforth track team. She won the girls' high jump finals with a mark of 5 feet. And we also had, that's the results and, what the county girls and boys did at that meet. So, that's the update on track and field. I think the latest we have. Of course, postseason for spring sports is coming up soon. So a lot of names to watch there, especially on the Seaforth side. The boys just won in the indoor track, last year they had Will and Jack won some state championships in outdoor. We also had some other county athletes winning outdoor as well. So it should be pretty successful, into the track season for the county in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I just want to add a couple of things. Was at the Seaforth and at the Northwood track and field events. It was interesting because Ashibo and I have talked about this for the last 2 years on our live stream here. Is there's a lot of dual sport athletes in this county. You mentioned Gabby White. It's interesting because I'm out there and I'm like, hey, didn't you play basketball? Hey, don't you also play football? Hey, don't you also play soccer? So there's a lot of folks that are dual sports athletes. And then I want to just finish out by saying I want to give a shout out to all the coaches, high school coaches here in Chatham County, because I know you guys are not doing it for the money. I ran into a bunch of you yesterday evening at Northwood. And the funny thing is, I've been taking pictures here in Chatham County for over 20 years. And some of the coaches I run into were actually student athletes when I was taking pictures of them. And now they're coaches. And I will just say that the coaches, and I talked to several of them yesterday, one of the things that they appreciate is the fact that they are not just coaching a sport, but they're also life coaches. And a lot of them appreciate it when they're able to. I ran into somebody who's almost been coaching for 20 years. You have your former student athletes come up to you and say, Coach, thanks for being your coach. And I've mentioned this multiple times, and I will keep on repeating it. Most of the students who participate in extracurricular activities and sports do better in school and better in life. So coaches, thank you so much for what you do, because I know in high school you are not getting paid the big bucks. And maybe a different story in the Division I college leagues, but not when it comes to high school. So coaches, thank you very much for that. All right, I'll quick yak and Ashibo, what you've got coming out in the paper. Let us know that before we talk about your athlete of the week.
Yeah, so we got a lot of different things in the paper this week. So starting with we got a local girls basketball program, the Carolina Magic. They won 2 titles in the gold brackets at the LaMelo Ball Invitational. Actually, I think it was 2 weekends ago. And of course, 6th and 7th grade teams, like we said, won their gold bracket divisions. Got some big wins in that one. Impressive showings from the girls. A lot of girls play in middle school, the middle school league here in Chatham County, and coached by Ryan Seiler, who does a great job with the girls and getting them ready for those types of tournaments. And they have plans to going national this summer. They're going to go on the road and go on some other big tournaments as well. So more information on them and what they did and where they're going to be and where you guys can follow those talented girls here from the county. And then we also have, like I said, the story from Seaforth girls soccer team taking down second place Southeast Alamance 5-0. You can read more about that in that game. We also have the football schedules for this upcoming season. Were finalized the past couple of weeks, and we got them all here in this story. You can see some of the matchups. We got some new matchups, of course, in the conferences with new conferences. Our football teams are going to be in 3 different ones this year. You can also see when those rivalries, right? Jordan Matthews, Chatham Central, Seaforth, Northwood. When those games are going to be played, they're still going to be here in the next season, even though they won't necessarily be conference games. Jordan Matthews and Northwood will be, though. You can read more about the season there. And we also have, of course, our regular spring roundup. Of course, and can't forget this one, biggest news of the week, Jaron Stevenson coming back to UNC. He committed late last week. So we have more on that, and he'll have a possible chance of, teaming up with Drake Powell again. And if you guys remember their freshman year, they played together at Northwood and made the state championship game with that team. And of course, when they split and Jaron went to Seaforth, they still did great things at their respective schools. And now they have a chance to share the court again as teammates this time and not on different teams like it was this past year. And then we also have short story on, like we said, Luke Johnson from Chatham Charter. He signed to Mid-Atlantic Christian University, and he'll be playing baseball there. And you can read more about what he's done in his career at Chatham Charter. And Gene, you ready for our athlete of the week?
Yeah, we're about ready, athlete for the week. Before we go on there, I got to apologize to the folks who were looking at us at the Chatham Journal Facebook page. Again, it dropped off for some reason and dropped back on. I will post a link to the YouTube video so you can watch it and give you a quick roundup of it. X and YouTube were working fine, but Facebook for some reason always gives us a little bit of a problem. But we will have that up there. And the other thing I want to remind folks, on Facebook, they changed their policy. So after 30 days, anything we do live, they delete. So, but all that stuff is available on YouTube. So let's get me ready for your athlete of the week. All right, Ashibo, who is your athlete?
Yeah, and you guys caught it earlier. Like I said, we'll talk about him later in the stream. And here it is. Athlete of the week is Chatham Charter Baseball's Zach Cartret for the week of April 7th. And just last week, like we said, in their 8-0 win over River Mill, who was the second-place team in the conference. He went 2 for 3 from the plate, knocked in the team high 2 RBIs in that game. And then on the mound, he struck out 8 batters and gave up 0 hits in the first 4 innings of the game. So in his 8 appearances on the mound this season, well, 9 now, but at the time we wrote this, he had put together, a lot of impressive performances this season. So at the time we wrote this Athlete of the Week article, he had 55 strikeouts, had only given up 5 earned runs in 30 innings with an ERA of 1.17. So he's been dominant on the mound. And like we said, just the other night against River Mill, once again, 13 strikeouts in that one. River Mill only had 1 run. So he's been having a great season for the Knights. Looking forward to seeing what him and the rest of the team can do in the final few weeks of the season and what they can do into the postseason down in the 1A level.
So, Zach, congratulations on being Ashibo's Athlete of the Week. Well earned, and again, something that a lot of folks look forward to hearing each week. And next week we'll have another Athlete of the Week. So we'll see who that's going to be. All right. Let's see. That kind of rounds things up. Ashibo, where are you going to be next few days? Because I know you said you're going to be somewhere tonight, but where are you going to be? Any idea where you're going to be next week?
Yeah, next week. Like I said, I was looking at Woods Charter's girls soccer schedule. Definitely want to go and catch them during the regular season. And I'm thinking about that game where they're hosting Franklin Academy. Franklin Academy is 12-0, 7-0 in their conference up here on the 2A level. So it should be a big game, a big test for Woods Charter, like I said, before the playoffs get started. So I think that's one game I'm looking at. Of course, we got some big baseball and other sports as well, games going on in the next couple of weeks because, like we said, spring playoffs is coming up. May is just around the corner, and things are starting to get crucial when it comes to seeding, playoff placements, and trying to earn berths. So, yeah, that's kind of what I have in mind for next week.
All right. Just want to let folks know I usually coordinate with Ashibo on stuff going on the eastern part of the county. On the western part, PJ is usually taking pictures over there, or sometimes Lee also helps out there. My plan for tonight is I'm going to be in Northwood. It's baseball senior night. I think that game starts at 6. I'm going to try to be there, but also the girls lacrosse team game starts at 5. Boys lacrosse game starts at 7. So in between those 2 games, I'm going to run over and try to get the senior night baseball festivities. So that's where I'm going to be. I'm not going to do anything on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because I've got to catch up on getting all my pictures because Ashibo needs them for the Chatham News and Record by Sunday, and I need to get those up there. And there's a Seaforth mom who's reached out to me about her pictures of her kid. Yes, I did the montage, but I've tried to get that. I'm going to try to get all the pictures out there by the end of this weekend. So apologies for that. It's just been a super busy week. Anything else before we wrap up, Ashibo?
Nope, I think we got it all covered.
All right, folks. As always, thanks so much for watching. I will also put on the Chatham Journal Facebook page the link to the YouTube video because, again, we had issues on Facebook. And a reminder, pick up the paper. See what look. If anything else, it's worth just reading Ashibo's articles in the paper. So go ahead and pick up the paper. It's available today. And you can also subscribe. That's the Chatham News and Record. All right, folks, thanks for watching. We will see you next Thursday at noontime.